An upcoming election to change Haiti's constitution has plunged the Caribbean nation into daily protests and calls for the president to quit, not to mention food insecurity and a wave of kidnappings not seen in years. And oh, there's COVID. In a wide-ranging interview, Haiti's embattled President Jovenel Moise talked with me about what's next. Jovenel Moise moving like a president in his final months in office. On the victory lap, despite calls for him to quit. We followed Moise to the town of Marion on a melting hot Saturday morning. Hundreds showing up to see the final construction stages of a new dam. That means no more flooding for residents who feared every time it rained. Marion had to celebrate. The night before, Moise reminded residents in Jérémie that his deal with Taiwan will provide electricity for them. And the rest of the towns all over Haiti, he says, before leaving office next year. Those were things we did, he says, after the Parliament of 2020. For 15 months, Moise has been ruling by decree, a power granted in the country's constitution when there's been no legislative elections. The opposition has held rallies and protests day after day, calling on him to resign. And under no circumstances would you step down?
No, not keep going.
On ruling by decree, Moise says we are here to make decisions for the Haitian people. Not since before the devastating quake in 2010 has Haiti had a wave of kidnappings. And never has one played out like this last month in a church during a live Facebook stream. The victims were all released on Easter Sunday, 3 days later, after an unknown ransom was paid. We have technicians, he says, working with police to help mount an anti-kidnapping task force. But it takes time. We are working, he says, and we never stop fighting against insecurity and kidnappings. It's the country's constitutional crisis that now has the attention of Washington. More than 60 members of Congress want Moise to reconsider his June 27th election, taking several referendums to voters for major changes to the nation's 1987 Constitution. One potential change includes allowing members of the Haitian diaspora to vote and even run for office. Without the diaspora, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to do it without them, he says. For the new road we have to take in development, for changes, and to create wealth and security. And Moise hopes to have 3 elections in the next 6 months and says the constitutional referendum is a game changer for Haitians living here. His critics say the June election should be canceled, saying it is illegal and nothing more than a power grab.
And it's so awful to see what happened in that church there, to see what's going on in the country. Calvin, so what's going on when it comes to COVID? COVID has taken over the world. What is their case count like? Any plans for vaccinations? What is it like in Haiti?
Surprisingly, Haiti has one of the lowest COVID-19 rates in the world. Wow. And scientists are mystified about why, because no one, as I saw firsthand, is wearing a mask. Not a single person, except for members of the president's entourage. Much more on that coming up tomorrow at 6 and 11 o'clock.